Enniskillen GAA agus bhfuair 100 míle fáilte go páirc bhreithimh an seo in Enniskillen don cluiche seo insan treich Allianz Fermanagh GAA TV an radio oríthe ag Monaghan Brothers. Lá Jas Greenworth Tróna a bhallart a bhí fíor coca seo hin. Is beite ifre trí an seachtain seo agus Fermanagh in chundé na líise. Bua slachtúir a bhí ag Fermanagh an Jerry Seachtaine in a Jerry Seachtaine seo caite in Longford agus Johnny siad a seach níhil an darna ceanna eil an Jerry Seachtaine seo. Tá muid héan an seo a Fermanagh ag ceiliúrú seachtain na Gaeilge agus cluiní sibh tiilú a faoi atá agríthe agin go lua. Be Mark Henry I Mahanta don seachtú nóméid imirtha atá roin and Mark, you're very welcome to our broadcast today.
Thanks, Ciarán. It's great to be here on a beautiful spring day.
Yeah, well, 2 weeks ago you wouldn't have put a fox from a hen house, but we're basking in some lovely early spring sunshine. This game is going to possibly define the rest of Fermanagh's league. A victory today will have them ahead of Laois, chasing the teams at the top of the division, whereas a defeat would drag Fermanagh back into a relegation scrap.
No, it's and I suppose you could say the same thing about Laois.
Exactly the same. They're sitting on the same points.
This game is very significant for both teams. Fermanagh been at home today on the back of the win last week. Will be really looking to consolidate the position in the division and start to look upwards, Ciarán, rather than look down if they could manage to get a win today.
Well, what has been your impression on how Fermanagh have got on so far?
Well, look, they have gradually improved. The one thing I would say is that you can clearly see that from week to week, the things that maybe didn't go well in the previous game, they have worked on and improved them the next day out. Obviously starting off with a defeat was disappointing. Would have liked to come away with the 2 points against Wicklow, but showed great resilience and so on, not to let those two setbacks put them off their stride, and then picked up the points last week, Ciarán, against Longford. So look, a steady improvement, new manager, a lot of new players. Obviously there'll be a few bumps in the road, but they're certainly on an upward trajectory.
And with 1 minute to our on we will get a chance to quickly run through the teams and we'll talk about them as this game goes ahead. So we'll start with Fermanagh. In goals it'll be Cian Newman making his home debut. Full back line, Garrett Kavanagh, Johnny Cassidy and Luke Flanagan. And now we'll pause for our on and today that's going to be sung by El Nafari. We'll pick it up with the teams straight after that there before the throw-in.
He passed away yesterday.
Shinna finna fall atá we allegerin bwyand ar slua ar tendaran e cui fwy bach fasir shan cheer ar shin sha fasta niaka when Ciarán when tra anakta him savana will lagana yil han boss no sail lagan Israel we love agnabele shaliv kani aron nave.
Around the vein, and preceding that we had a minute's silence for the late John Woods, who died in tragic circumstances yesterday, and we send our thoughts to the family at this sad time. Just picking up on the teams, Mark, we've got as far as the half-back line for Fermanagh. It's Aidan Breen, James McMahon and Declan McCusker. Midfield, Ryan Jones, Brandon Horan, with a half-forward line, Kieran Corrigan, Dar McGurn and Josh Largoenis. In the full forward line, Ryan Lyons replaces Gary McKenna, and it's Conal Jones and Sean Quigley. Joe McQuillan's the referee for the game. He had the initial game, Mark. So I want to talk about the conditions. great conditions here today. Pitch is in good shape, lovely sunshine. You couldn't beat it.
Couldn't beat it, Ciarán. Perfect conditions, as you say. The pitch is in great shape, and you know the big thing for the players, no breeze today. They've played their last 2 games in very difficult circumstances, so lovely conditions today for the game.
And with that, Joe McKillen throws the ball up, and Laois have won that initial ball. It's the first time ball into the forward line. It's into the full forward. Johnny Cassidy's fighting for him, and Joe McQuillan adjudicates that the Laois full forward, who is Evan O'Carroll, he's the captain as well, he touched that ball on the ground. So James McMahon takes that short free, gives it to Brandon Horn, and now Fermanagh have it as the break outside their own 45 metre line. It's with Ryan Jones, the midfielder, Josh Largo Ellis with him as well, and back to James McMahon as Laois sink 2 players back into their own half. Fermanagh have it in between their own 45 and 65 metre line. Probably a good chance, Mark, for a lot of players to get their first touch without under that much pressure.
Yeah, Laois, as you say, they dropped a couple back straight away, so it's allowed Fermanagh to play the ball quite comfortably across the middle of the pitch.
Now it's continued at midfield, and it's gone through the hands between Josh Largo Ellis, Aidan Breen and Connell Jones over here now, so they're still in and around the 65 metre line. I think that'll probably give me time to go through the Laois team. Their goalkeeper is Matthew Byron, a full back line of James Kelly, Trevor Collins and Alex Mohan. In the half back line it's Sean O'Flynn, John O'Loughlin and Gareth Dillon. In the middle of the field, Kieran Lillis and James Finn. In the half forward line it's number 18 Cormac Murphy, Owen Lowry and Patrick O'Sullivan, with Mark Berry, Evan O'Carroll and Gary Walsh. And just as I say that, the ball's been turned over. Mark Berry has it. He's taken a shot left footed, which was blocked down well by Luke Flanagan. The ball's still in, and it's Cian Newman. As I was naming out that team, Mark, Fermanagh still retained the ball between their own 45 and 65 metre line. Didn't go forward or back, but eventually it broke down a pass.
Yeah, just a loose kick pass across the pitch by Ryan Jones, just was intercepted, but Luke Flanagan very sharp and got a good block on Barry.
So now Declan McCusker has it just in front of us in this stand side of the field. He hits it across midfield to Ryan Jones. Now it's Aidan Breen as Fermanagh get inside the Laois 65 metre line. That's Brandon Horn shipping it. Heavy challenge, giving it over to Josh Largo Ellis. He's looking to go forward. Deshaun Quigley got 2 goals the last day. Quigley, that ball spins out of his hands, but he's able to tip it back to Josh Largo Ellis, and a straight back in again to Kieran Corrigan. Comes out of his possession, but Corrigan gets it back. He's coming outside the 25 back to Ryan Jones and Brandon Horn, and Fermanagh have it on the Laois 45 metre line as that ball's kicked in. It's blocked down, and now Laois have it turned over, and it's their chance to break out. There's plenty of Fermanagh players back, but a lot of space for the Laois forwards, Mark.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous ball that's come in as a goal opportunity here. It's the corner forward. He hits that ball in, and Cian Newman does well to block it. I was talking about the space.
Yeah.
That was an inch perfect pass, went over the head of the Fermanagh defender. It ended up into the hands of Gary Walsh. Between Garrett Kavanagh and Cian Newman, they were able to cut down the space. It's gone out for a 45.
Yeah, it went out for a 45. I'm not sure whether it went off Garrett or Cian, but the pass from the Laois player took out the retreating Fermanagh defenders, and Garrett was playing just slightly in front, and the ball just eluded him. And look, they did very well between the two of them to surround him and get the block on and get away with the 45, because that was a real goal chance.
So Gary Walsh will take this 45, 5 metres to the right hand side of the post, looking to open up get the first score of this game. Definitely that was a scary moment as that ball come in. It just goes to show you, more you can have all the defenders in the world, but if you can get the kick pass in early, as that 45 comes in, good connection, it's gone in, it's gone wide.
Yeah, no, that kick pass took out, if you want to call it the blanket, it took the entire blanket out.
5 Fermanagh players that were retreating.
Yeah, and it bypassed the whole lot of them, but look, the quality of the pass was exceptional to get to the inside man.
So from the kick out, which Fermanagh went short, they have got possession. It's over to the far side of the field. That's Garrett Kavanagh breaking forward. He's been met by James Finn, one of the Laois midfielders. Now he gives it to Ryan Jones. So Fermanagh have a lot of the possession in this early part of the game, Mark. They haven't really got a scoring opportunity or even had the ball in for any sustained period of time in the Laois half of the field.
No, they haven't managed to get the ball inside at all yet. Yeah.
Connell Jones over there between the 45 and the 65. He comes back here to Brandon Horn, and it's Ryan Jones again at midfield, which is chipped forward. He's looking to find Ryan Lyons. He got a couple of yards away from the Laois defender, and Lyons has that back to Ryan Jones and back to Brandon Horn again. Space on this side of the field. It was Luke Flanagan was providing the run, but for the benefit of our listeners in here, Mark, we probably have to talk about the Laois setup. They're sitting. Fermanagh have 2 inside forwards. Laois have about 4 players standing in a lane between the 21 and the 45 metre line. It doesn't really give Fermanagh a lot of room to attack.
It makes it difficult to kick ball in. Now Ryan Lyons has found Sean Cookedy with a great ball there
and
now.
He give Luke Flanagan as Fermanagh on this side of the field. Ciarán Corrigan shooting chance, which is blocked down well. The ball's going to come back to Ryan Lyons.
Again, a lot of bodies around again. Ciarán, very difficult to get a shot away.
It's in and around the 45 metre line, and it's Connell Jones who has it now. He gives it to Brandon Horn. Thought he was going to take a shot right footed, but he gives it over to Aidan Breen, turns back inside, and it's back to Aidan Breen. Goes into the challenge. If he could have got it away to Dara McGurn, but referee Joe McQuillan was playing advantage, and that has been it's been given as a free in to Fermanagh on the 21 metre line.
Yeah, and look, I suppose that's what Fermanagh are going to have to do if Laois are going to drop players back in large numbers and clog up those central areas. Fermanagh are just going to have to be patient. They are going to need the likes of Aidan Breen and Declan McCusker and Brandon Horn to come from deep with penetrating runs, but they are going to have to be patient. And look, I'm sure Fermanagh will do the same whenever Laois have the ball also.
Well, Sean Quigley gets the first score of the game from a free, and it's Fermanagh 1 point, Laois no score. It was Sean Quigley that made the initial opening for Fermanagh. He found a bit of space, made a run, won that initial ball, and the kick out was Josh Largo Ellis has turned over, giving it to James McMahon on the Laois 65 metre line. He gives it to Sean Quigley, looking to deliver the ball early into Ciarán Corrigan. Got away from the full back there, who is Trevor Collins. Back out now to Ryan Lyons. He had a shot on the left foot, but Ryan Jones takes it right footed, hitting that ball in high, looking good, and it's gone over the bar. The first score of the game for Fermanagh from play. It's 2 points inside a minute. Fermanagh 2 points, Laois no score.
That's a superb score from Ryan Jones from right out on the 45.
Well, that's the other way to beat the blanket.
Yeah, that's the other way is right. And look, Ryan Jones has had a superb season for Derek Onley, and is continuing into his Fermanagh season as well. Kick
out won by Sean O'Flynn there. He found himself in a bit of space, took his mark inside the Laois 45 metre line, and now it's going to be as the play continues, it's the midfielder. He's Kieran Lillis coming down this stand side of the field. The Fermanagh players are retreating, nearly encouraging Lillis to go in and take a shot. That ball was kicked in. It was a low trajectory, and Garrett Kavanagh did well to get his hand to it, because if he hadn't got it, Gary Walsh was standing behind him in near the goals, and now Laois have turned it over. It's over on the far side of the field. Comes in here now to their centre half forward, who's Owen Lowry, but he's dispossessed. There's 4 Fermanagh players around him. Brandon Horn has it, giving it now to Josh Largo Ellis, and Fermanagh are turning out. They're outside their own 45 metre line. There's 4 of them going in a weave now. It's Dara McGurn, Luke Flanagan's there as well, and McGurn gets away from the challenge of the wing half back. Ball bounces off his knee, but McGurn gets it up again onto the 45 metre line. There's 3 Laois players around him, and the Laois players get it away, and now it's Laois with an opportunity to break forward here. It was a promising looking move.
Look, there's that ball again, Ciarán.
But Fermanagh learned, and James McMahon.
James sat deeper that time now, but they certainly are trying to isolate Gary Walsh and Garrett Kavanagh, and that's 3 times they've tried to hit him. That's obviously a ploy that they have developed.
And James McMahon breaking forward, he's got the advantage, gives it to Josh Largo Ellis. Now it's Connell Jones in and around midfield. Ryan Jones has it now. Johnny Cassidy's here on this stand side of the field, giving it to his captain Declan McCusker, and Fermanagh are retaining possession. Scoreline still 2 points to Fermanagh, no score to Laois, and it's Johnny Cassidy at midfield to Connell Jones. Just the view that Connell Jones is looking at, he's got Sean Quigley inside and also Ciarán Corrigan. Now that's James McMahon trying to find Ciarán Corrigan, but the Laois midfielder Kieran Lillis was able to read that, and Laois have it turned over.
Look, if that kick pass into the blanket is not absolutely 100%, it will be cut out as it was there, and Laois are on the break again.
Now it's 2v1 over here. It's one of the Laois midfielders. It's Lillis giving it over there to his colleague from the corner back line. I think it was Alex Mohan, and that was left footed from Alex Mohan over the bar.
Yeah, and look, Fermanagh, we just commented a few minutes ago how patient Fermanagh had been to
kickover's been turned over now, and it's a goal opportunity here. It's for Evan O'Carroll's bearing down on Cian Newman. He gets the ball into the net. The kick out was between Johnny Cassidy and I think it was Luke Flanagan as well. It just ended up between the two of them, and Evan O'Carroll turned that over, Mark.
And nipped in, and like Cian Newman come out to narrow the angle, but Evan O'Carroll finished the ball just in off the post with a super low finish. Now that's a real blow given the decent start that Fermanagh had made.
And it's the short kick out, it has to be perfect as well, but the kick, he's gone long this time. Josh Largo-Ellis has turned that over now, and Fermanagh are breaking down the stand side of the field. It'd be good if they could get a score to respond to that there. Josh Largo-Ellis goes to ground. Referee Joe McQuillan says play away, and Laois have it turned over inside their own 45 metre line. It's Alex Mohan who just kicked that last score, and now it's over there with their wing half forward, who's Patrick O'Sullivan. I suppose, Mark, if that is going to happen, it might as well happen early on in the game.
Yeah, look, loads of time to recover.
That high ball, looking to find Evan O'Carroll as well. Johnny Cassidy's going to have his hands full following Evan O'Carroll out there. Brandon Horn's going to tackle him, so it's Evan O'Carroll against Enniskillen in the corner here in Brewster Park. He gets that away. It's been picked up by James Finn on the 21 metre line. Well done by Josh Largo-Ellis to get a hand in, so it's gone out over the line, and it's going to be the midfielder James Finn who gives it back here near enough to midfield to John O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin's one of the players that'll make Laois tick, I suppose, as well, Mark.
Yeah, look, a very important player, has played a lot of football for Laois, a very impressive player, physically strong as well, as are a number of the Laois players, Ciarán, and we've already commented on the two boys inside. They have an advantage over the Garrett Kavanagh and Johnny Cassidy.
Play continues, and it's a free in, says referee Joe McQuillan, in and around the 45 metre line. It looks as if goalkeeper Matthew Byron's going to come on. I've seen him, he kicked a couple of scores last week. He kicked a point towards the end of the game against Antrim, and I suppose they thought that was going to be the winner, but it's not Matthew Byron's going to take this. I think it's one of it could be Evan O'Carroll. It's not Evan O'Carroll either. I think it's
Gary Walsh, maybe, is it?
We'll have to just see him turn around, but it's one of the forwards anyway who's taking this one here. It's inside the 45 metre line, going to take it from his hands. As you said, Mark, no breeze at all, reasonably central, but that's gone.
Yeah, he's missed that one.
That's gone Skyway as they talk about, because it's away at 10 metres to the right hand side of the post.
Yeah, no, we got it off the hook there now. That was very much a scoreable free.
I mean, that's a short kick out of the game, but James McMahon wins it. I mean, it's interesting that Matthew Byron was coming up to take that. He obviously thought that he was best placed to take it.
Yeah,
but Gary Walsh had it, and
I suppose all of these players will be confident that they can nail frees like that, Ciarán.
Fermanagh have it inside around their own 45 metre line. It comes over here to the captain, Declan McCusker. Can he provide a bit of forward momentum? He chips a nice ball into Connell Jones. One bounce in front. He gives it to Aidan Breen, and now it's Breen spraying it over to Sean Quigley. Been chased by the Laois cornerback, who's James Kelly. Quigley wins it. He's over there, gives it inside to Ryan Lyons. The ball comes off his knee, and it's a free in. Ryan Lyons must have been tugged back. His arm was tugged back, I'd say, anyway.
Just as he was trying to round his man there. No, that was a good passage of play by Fermanagh there too.
And it's an opportunity for Sean Quigley to get a point from near enough the exact same place he took his first kick.
Yeah, it should be a handy one for Sean this now. Again, just shows the value of if Fermanagh can get the ball played in quickly before the blanket gets back here, and there is opportunities there to get good ball threaded through.
So the scoreline now reads Laois 1-1, Fermanagh 3 points, and they have cut the Laois lead in half from that initial goal which went in. As we said, Mark, Fermanagh have responded well to that. They've got the next score, which is most important.
Just watching them, they have responded brilliantly. They practically ignored that goal and just got on with their business. It hasn't proved to be a setback at all.
Kick out comes here now, and Laois do well. They're going down this stand side of the field. It's Darren McGurn chasing after the wing half back of Sean O'Flynn. McGurn does well. That ball was out over the line. I can't believe it. The linesman didn't.
But super work by the Fermanagh defenders to get round him and dispossess him.
Fermanagh have turned it over anyway, and it's over to the far side of the field with Declan McCusker. I mean, I was shocked. The Laois player was 2 paces over the line. I know they can keep the ball away from their body, but anyway, the play has gone on ahead now. It's Darragh McGurn inside the Laois 65 metre line. He gives it to Ciarán Corrigan, and Josh Largo-Ellis is in there as well. They're between the 45 and the 21. Back to Ellis, and over here to Ryan Jones and Brandon Horn. Fermanagh they're keeping the ball going through the hands.
Yeah, and by and large staying out of trouble and not taking any risks with possession, Ciarán, which is just the right thing to do.
So Ryan Jones is looking to find Josh Largo-Ellis here on this stand side of the field. He's got Evan O'Carroll coming to him. Ellis goes back to Largo-Ellis, goes back to Garrett Kavanagh, and then Ryan Jones as well, as Fermanagh are trailing here. 1-1 to Laois, 3 points to Fermanagh. About 12 minutes gone in the first half here in glorious sunshine in Brewster Park.
At least at this stage now have everybody behind the ball, Ciarán, making it very, very difficult for Manach to find a way through.
Yeah, they used to blame the northern teams for these
yeah.
blanket defences. I don't know if they could see this here, but Fermanagh have it anyway, and it's Ryan Jones giving it to Aidan Breen, and Brandon Horns over there as well, because back to Jones on the sideline. I'd imagine if you were to see percentages of possession in the first half, Fermanagh must be sitting on about 70%.
Certainly,
because they've had most of the possession anyway. Now that was trying to find Darragh McGorn, but that's a loose pass. I suppose
there's what you would call a good foul, Ciarán. Fermanagh have slowed them up now to allow them to get set up.
But just the point about Fermanagh, Mark, is that yes, they're retaining a lot of possession between their 65 and midfield, say for example. It's only when they start to go inside the Laois 65 and head towards the 45 that the pressure comes on. And Fermanagh have given a lot of ball away, loose passes. A couple of balls given away. There's absolutely no need for it, no excuse for it actually at this level, Ciarán. Ciarán Corrigan's away like a hare around that far side of the field. He gives it to Sean Quigley, taking that ball in on the spin, and that's over the bar. That's a great score.
That's a superb score by Sean, and great work by Ciarán Corrigan.
He carried the ball 40, maybe 60 metres, I would say. Give it first time to Sean Quigley on the spin. Didn't even look at the posts.
No, and again, Brandon Horn had seen the danger inside. Brandon had dropped right back in front of the full back line and intercepted the attempted long kick pass in, and that's what started off the move that led to that brilliant point by Sean.
Kick out coming over here, and it's Ciarán Corrigan going up against the centre half, or the full back, who's Trevor Collins. Collins wins that, and Laois have it on their own 65 metre line. It's the midfielder, Ciarán Nillis. I mean, we talked at the start of this game, Mark, about how equal the two teams are, and I mean, it's been a reasonably even game so far as well.
It has, like as you said, Fermanagh have dominated possession, but there's no doubt that Laois have a threat, particularly when they look up to kick long ball in before the Fermanagh cover gets back, Ciarán, and that's something that, for all the possession that Fermanagh may have, they need to be careful not to concede another goal.
Not that the Laois players are kicking the ball off the side of their foot as well.
Right.
I mean, I just remarked that one John O'Loughlin was hitting it back to his own player. He's lucky that there was no one from Fermanagh around, because it was a very bad kick pass. But anyway, Laois still have it. They're inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line. That's a left-footed shot by midfielder James Flynn. That's gone wide.
Yeah, and again, Fermanagh will be happy enough for James Flynn to be shooting from outside the 45 metre line under a bit of pressure.
Just watching the Fermanagh kickouts, Cian Newman has tended to go short as much as he can.
Yeah.
I suppose Laois have two big midfielders with Kieran Finn and
even though there's a bit of a press on by Laois, Cian definitely wants to go short at every opportunity. And as you quite rightly point out, Laois have a large
size advantage
in that midfield diamond.
But you were talking about the press, Mark. Last week in Longford, Peter, he was talking about a half-hearted press, and that kind of was what from Laois there. I mean,
bit of that.
It was going through the motions, but possibly not looking to turn it over. Now, I'm not belittling that there, because all it takes Laois is to be lucky once, and we've seen what happens.
Yes, exactly. But I suppose Laois are because of the way they're set up at the back, they're not able to put on as good a press as they would like. However, I would argue maybe given Fermanagh's determination to go short, they should really press up and force them to go long.
Heavy challenge from Evan O'Carroll on James McMahon, and McMahon wins the free, dead on his own 65 metre line, giving it back to Ryan Jones, and Fermanagh retained the possession here. Still 4 points to Fermanagh, 1-1 to Laois. That goal was scored by the number 15 Gary Walsh after 7 minutes here in the first half, and now Fermanagh have it. It's Josh Largo Ellis giving it over to Johnny Castey. As Fermanagh, Laois have all their players inside their own half of the field here now, and it's Josh Largo Ellis going forward. He's got Declan McCusker in front of him, and now Sean Quigley's coming out around the 45 metre line. He's been tracked by James Kelly. 3 points so far for Sean Quigley, 2 from free, 1 from play, and now it's Brandon Horn on the far side of the field. Just a notice there, Mark, that Ciarán Corrigan was standing on one sideline, and I think it might have been Ryan Lyons was in the first. They're trying to drag the Laois.
There is actually good width to the Fermanagh attack, and there has to be given the number of Laois bodies back, and there's good movement from Fermanagh now as well. It's just that the key is to be patient and keep hold of the ball.
Now Sean Quigley giving that ball back to Declan McCusker. He's going to spray it over to the far side of the field. That's not a good ball. It was intercepted well by Patrick O'Sullivan, and Laois had an opportunity. O'Sullivan just couldn't get the ball into his hand straight away, but Laois still have it. They have a free player over there, and now it's about 8 Fermanagh defenders and 4 Laois attackers, but now the Laois reinforcements come in, and it's come over here now to the number 18, who's Cormac Murphy, and it goes forward then to Evan O'Carroll. He's been tracked left-footed, hitting that ball in, and that's going over the bar. That's another score for Laois. 1-2 to Laois, 4 points to Fermanagh.
Yeah, that's a fine score by Evan O'Carroll, and you can see why he's so highly rated, Ciarán. Just unfortunately on that occasion he found it was Josh Largo-Ellis found himself on Evan O'Carroll rather than Johnny Cassidy. He just got inside Josh and was able to get the ball over the bar.
Substitution in the Fermanagh team, and the captain Declan McCusker has come off. He not moving freely, so I can only imagine that it looks to be an injury from here, and Danny Leonard has come on. In that instance, Cian Newman went long with his kick out. That's gone straight out over the line.
Yeah, a bit more pressure there on the kick out that time, forced Cian to go long, but he managed unfortunately to put it out over the sideline here in front of us, Ciarán.
So Laois are going to have this sideline ball inside the Fermanagh inside the Fermanagh half, and it's the midfielder James Finn gets away from the challenge of Dara McGorn. Laois still have it as Fermanagh take 13 players back into their own half to cut down on the spaces. Laois they're starting to hold the ball, and they're going from side to side here, waiting to see when a space will open. They've got a 3v2 here. It's the number 18 Cormac Murphy who got that.
Just as we look down, they're isolating the inside man again. Ciarán Lillis tried that a drop kick into him that time,
I thought no one could attempt it anymore at all, but it was Ciarán Lillis.
He shouldn't have attempted it.
No,
look at the way it finished up, Ciarán.
It went straight to Cian Newman. Fermanagh have it turned over, and now they're trying to break out with a bit of speed. It's in the hands of Garrett Kavanagh. Connell Jones is there as well, but it's now with Ryan Lyons. Fermanagh have the ball in and around midfield over there with Ryan Lyons again. Play is continuing. It's still Fermanagh in and around the midfield area between Brandon Horan, Ryan Jones, James McMahon, Aidan Breen's there as well. Now McMahon's putting a bit of forward momentum into it, gives it to Ryan Jones, and now Connell Jones has it. He's looking for Sean Quigley with a high ball inside. Quigley to do well to catch it. It's going to go out. Quigley has it on the end line. Does well. He's got Ciarán Corrigan for support. 2 Laois players around him, and the Laois players is able to dispossess Sean Quigley there now, and they have a free inside their own 13-metre line, which has been taken, is given to the goalkeeper Matthew Byron.
There was a great opportunity there if the kick pass from Connell had just been a little bit more accurate. Just went too far for Sean, and he ended up he managed to keep it in all right, but he got bottled up then as he come back around into play.
So Laois are attacking the Fermanagh half. That's a ball in from the wing half back Sean O'Flynn, just bounces through Brandon Horan, and he's lucky that Cian Newman was lucky that there was no one from Laois behind him. Fermanagh have it away on the far side of the field. It's Danny Leonard. He come on to replace Declan McCusker.
And again, Brandon's playing quite deep now when Laois have the ball. They're obviously very much aware of that threat of the long ball inside, and Brandon now is sitting in front of the full back line and dropping back very quickly to give extra cover in there.
I suppose this is the thing, Mark. Around about this time there would have been a water break, and
that's right.
the management would have just had a chance to maybe give Fermanagh a bit more direction. Now it's left to the players, or the 2 managers would have had a chance to talk to them, but Fermanagh have it. Now it's Ciarán Corrigan shooting chance, right footed. Oh, Ciarán Corrigan, he was on the 13-metre line. He must have put that straight into the very corner of the net, because goalkeeper Matthew Byron never moved an inch. Now it's Fermanagh 1-4, Laois 1-2. First goal for Fermanagh, and it's Ciarán Corrigan.
Yeah, now Darragh McGurn laid the ball off to Ciarán coming through at pace. Very, very direct. As soon as he saw the sniff of goal, he went for it, and by God, he finished it brilliantly, Ciarán.
2 points between the teams, that's really given a bit of life to the game here. There's a great crowd gathering, I suppose, given the conditions. It's a good day for it, and the time, it's a good day for the family to be out. So that's livening things up here now.
Yeah, the Fermanagh supporters are now starting to get behind the team, which is good to see.
So now it's in the hands of the Laois centre half back, that's John O'Loughlin, and then the midfielder James Finn. They have it, comes over to Ciarán Lillis. He gives it to Cormac Murphy, and now it's back to Lillis again, and Murphy. Fermanagh they don't want to concede a score if they can. The last couple of Laois attacks Fermanagh have been able to overturn them. As Laois start to get inside the 45-metre line, that's when some of their passes is getting wayward as well, Mark.
Yeah, they lose patience as well, and they look for that long kick, even if it's not on, Ciarán, at times.
Now it's Owen Lowry, he's been shadowed by Aidan Breen, and now there's a Laois player over there in a bit of space. I think it's the wing half back Gareth Dillon coming over here now to the goal scorer Gary Walsh. Yeah. That shot has dropped short. Cian Newman has it, turns it over, and now it's Darragh McGurn on his own 21-metre line. Ryan Jones is there as well, and then it's Johnny Cassidy.
Yeah, good work by the Fermanagh rear guard there. In particular, Danny Leonard put serious pressure on Walsh as he tried to pull the trigger there.
And now Fermanagh with an opportunity to go forward. It's on the Laois 65-metre line. Josh Largo Ellis has it inside the 45, looking for support. He gives it back to Ryan Lyons. Lyons looks to deliver it into Sean Quigley. He pushes James Kelly off it. Now it's Sean Quigley going inside. Goal chance again. Sean Quigley goes around the goalkeeper, and it's a goal. It's the second goal for Fermanagh. He sold the dummy. The goalkeeper went down. That lets Sean Quigley able to sidestep it, and it's gone into the net. It's another goal for Fermanagh. Another goal for Sean Quigley.
A display of a range of quality. Sean's strength in the first place to hold off a defender and win the ball. His composure. Ciarán Corrigan was across the goal, and Sean was able to use him as a decoy, sold the dummy and went for it himself and buried it.
Double scores here, 2-4 to Fermanagh, 1-2 for Laois. And if the first goal brought the crowd to life, the second one has raised the roof of the place here, Mark.
Two superb goals, Ciarán, on the back of two superb pieces of play now. Absolute top quality stuff.
I suppose it come to from the Laois were attacking, Mark. Fermanagh, they went inside their own 45-metre line, soaked up the pressure until the kick out until the shot was taken short, which Cian Newman was able to keep in play, and then Fermanagh inside the space of about 10 or 15 seconds had got up the field.
That's right, and look, the game had opened up there in the last 5 or 6 minutes, Ciarán, which has suited Fermanagh in that they've been able to get ball kicked inside, and obviously there's quality in there when the ball goes in with the likes of Sean in there. So no, the fact that it's opened up a wee bit is certainly playing into Fermanagh's hands at the minute, and Laois are a little bit frustrated and have kicked another bad wide there.
Kick out, two Fermanagh players. Darragh McGurn, he catches it, looking to deliver it early. There was a lot of space inside. Connell Jones and Sean Quigley had a lot of room there, but he goes over to Ryan Lyons, which will allow a lot of Laois players to erect the blue wall.
Yes, it has indeed.
So now Ryan Jones has it, gives it to Brandon Horn, back to Jones again, right footed outside the 21 metre, outside the edge of the D, and he hits that over the bar. It's another score. It's the second score of the day for Ryan Jones. 2-5 to Fermanagh, 1-2 to Laois, and there's now 6 points between the teams.
And you talked about the blue wall being erected. That was the perfect way to go through the wall there, Ciarán. A brilliant 1-2 by Ryan Jones, coming at pace, and again just inside the 45 metre line he kicked a fabulous score. Fermanagh are playing really, really well now in the last 10 minutes.
And After the initial, in the first couple of minutes of the game, we talked about Laois had the goal opportunity, which was saved by goalkeeper Ciarán Newman, and also I think Luke Flanagan was there as well. Then we had the goal the short kick out. Other than that, Fermanagh have tightened up at the back.
They have. Look, maybe a couple of things. Fermanagh are happy maybe to foul Laois coming out now at the back. When Laois win the ball in deep inside their own half, Fermanagh are happy to give away the free just to slow things down a wee bit. And of course we've noticed a couple of players, particularly maybe Brandon Horan, dropping back a little bit quicker, and it's made things much more difficult for Laois.
So the short kick out, Laois have it. Conall Jones, you were talking about. You
can see there, Ciarán, already. Brandon and James McMahon both back,
yep.
So that big ball in now is much less likely to be effective because it's simply not on.
Yeah, they're standing in front of Evan O'Carroll. I mean, Evan O'Carroll's moving back and forward inside the 13-metre line, but he's generally moving away from goal.
Yeah, and the play is too far away from him for Laois to be able to get the ball into him with any accuracy at all, Ciarán.
Now, Laois have it. They're inside the Fermanagh 45-metre line. It's with Patrick O'Sullivan, and it comes now to the full-back Trevor Collins. He's trying the ball into Evan O'Carroll. It gets over the Fermanagh. He gets away from the two Fermanagh players, and he takes a good mark.
He does indeed, yeah. Again, that was a superb kick pass in. And that was the midfielder that found himself in there, Ciarán Lillis. And he had a height advantage in there, Ciarán, which he took advantage of, but it was a super ball in and a great take.
And it's the thing about the mark, because he was catching it, he was going away from goal though, but once he caught his mark, he's able to take his...
No, look, if there was no mark, Ciarán would have had trouble getting a shot away, because there was 2 or 3 Fermanagh defenders converging on him as well, Ciarán. But he made the right decision, took the mark, and he slotted that one over.
Now, 2-5 to Fermanagh, 1-3 to Laois, as we're ticking towards additional time here at the end of the first half. Kick out goes long, and Darragh McGorn, like a salmon, that's 2 in a row he's caught.
Yeah,
and he goes over to Ryan Lyons again. Oh, Lyons, he was trying to kick the ball forward. It was Patrick O'Sullivan, just had his hand up, blocked it down, and now Laois have turned over Fermanagh. It's Patrick O'Sullivan inside the Fermanagh 45-metre line, gets away from 3 players. He's bearing down on goal, and that's a great tackle. Oh, what an important tackle. I think it was Danny Leonard. Just knocked the ball out of the hands of the Laois wing half forward Patrick O'Sullivan, because if he had got away with that there, he was away, and now Kieran Corrigan has it. He's away up the far side of the field, gets away from 2 Laois players. He's got Sean Quigley inside. Quigley's looking the ball early. Corrigan still has it, giving it now to Conall Jones. Conall Jones chipping the ball in forward, but that's not... I think Sean wanted it a wee bit earlier than that.
Yeah, and John O'Loughlin had seen the danger. He had read the danger and got across in front of Sean and cut out the kick pass from Conall Jones.
We'll go back to that incident where if we're coming from the kick out, Darragh McGorn, a great take, gave it over to Ryan Lyons. He was trying to give the ball forward. Patrick O'Sullivan, an innocuous, he blocked it down. That just goes to show you never quit trying, because from that Patrick O'Sullivan got away from the Fermanagh guard. He was just about to take a shot before Danny Leonard knocked it out of his hands. Yeah,
O'Sullivan made the wrong decision, actually, Ciarán. He had a bit of support, and as his run continued, he was drawing more and more Fermanagh players towards him, and he was looking to take his own score, and it didn't work out for him.
I suppose as well, in the likes of Patrick O'Sullivan, when you run the ball 40 metres, to have the energy and the composure to take the shot, you're sometimes better to look for support.
Yeah, no, he had done brilliant work up until then, but he really should have, having drawn the Fermanagh players to him, he should have slotted the ball across the face of goal now, and there would have been a much better chance of a score for Laois. But look, thankfully from our point of view, he didn't.
Now, kick out going to come here from Fermanagh goalkeeper Ciarán Newman. I think he's going to go long here, and he's coming to the stand side of the field. Darragh McGorn's caught the last 2. Can he get 3 in a row? Indeed he can. 3 marks for Darragh McGorn in midfield. He's doing very well. First time ball to Sean Quigley. Quigley gets that. He's going to hit that ball right footed, hits it early. It's dropping in there. Oh, what a score from Sean Quigley. He was 40 metres out, heading towards the far sideline, and just over the bar mark.
Look here, that's as good a score as you'll see anywhere. That's 3 kick-outs in a row that Darragh McGorn has caught. Laois have pushed up, forcing Ciarán Newman to kick long. Darragh has won 3 of them. The pass inside to Sean was inch perfect, and look, he didn't actually turn or look at the goals. He took the shot on his way round, out on the far side. It was a fabulous score. The shot just landed down on top of the net.
And the kick out there, Ryan Jones was just... He was interfering with the Laois midfielder. Referee Joe McQuillan seen it, and Laois have took a free in round midfield. Now it's going to be a free in again, as Ciarán Cardigan is adjudged to have pushed one of the Laois attackers. It's a free on the 13-metre line. It's only 4 or 5 metres in from the sideline. If you had someone on a left foot, it's a tight enough angle, but it'll definitely suit a left-footed kicker. That seems to be Mark Barry. We're number 13. He's kicking this. I think it looks as if it's going to be Luke Flanagan who's standing in front of him. I'd maybe put someone who's got an extra couple of inches just to... Now, left-footed, that's heading in. It's gone wide.
He's missed that one. It was a cheap enough free to give away, actually. Just Ciarán Cardigan just put his hands on the attacker's back, but thankfully that one was gone wide. It was a tight enough angle. But Fermanagh have finished the half in scintillating form, Ciarán. They've been absolutely superb with their use of the ball in the forward line, and the execution of their decision making and score taking has been top drawer.
1 minute of additional time here at the end of the first half, which we're starting to tick into now. Fermanagh 2-6, Laois 1-3. That's 6 points between the teams. As goalkeeper Cian Newman, is he looking for Darragh McGorn again? I think he is.
Why wouldn't he?
McGorn can't catch that one here, but it comes off the leash. It comes off a leash fist, and bit of a mix-up there from the lines. From the lane official, but it is a Fermanagh sideline ball. But Josh Largo-Ellis had just watched that ball go out over the line. I think he knew rightly it was going to be a Fermanagh ball. It's over there to the far side of the field now. It's Ryan Lyons. He's got Danny Leonard in front of him. He's got James McMahon behind him. So Ryan Lyons slips, but luckily enough there was no one around him. He picks that up, gives it to Danny Leonard on the far side of the field. Back to Ryan Lyons again, and Ryan Jones is in there in midfield, but it comes to Garrett Kavanagh. He's got Luke Flanagan and Josh Largo-Ellis here on this stand side of the field. Kavanagh giving it to Luke Flanagan. Darragh McGorn's there as well. And with that, referee Joe McQuillan blows the half-time whistle. 2-6 to 1-3. Fermanagh are getting goals, Mark.
Yeah, 2 goal chances, two brilliant goals, and both on the back of really good passages of play, Ciarán, as the game had opened up a small bit. And in the last 5 or 10 minutes there, Darragh McGorn provided a huge platform for kickouts in the middle of the field, 3 in a row. Whenever Laois had pushed up, obviously they decided they would push up and put pressure on Ciarán. It hasn't worked for them, because Darragh then has come out to the sideline here in just in front of us, Ciarán, and Ciarán has picked them out with 3, one of them leading directly to the goal. Superb finish to the half by Fermanagh.
So with that, we take a break. The scores for Fermanagh: Ryan Jones has got 2 points, Sean Quigley has got 1-4, Ciarán Cardigan got the other goal. 2-6 to Fermanagh, 1-3 to Laois at half time. We'll be back for the second half here on Fermanagh GAA TV in association with our sponsors Monaghan Brothers.
new Fermanagh jersey to each of our sponsors of our county senior football team. We have Monaghan Brothers, represented by Martin Armitage, and Modern Tyres, represented by Mickey Hoy and Tony Flood, unable to be with us from McMahon Healthcare here today. And of course, the very loyal, for well over 30 years, Tracy Concrete has been synonymous with Fermanagh GAA, and Patsy continues to be our main and principal sponsor of the jersey. Along with the presentation party is Joe McDade, one of our Fermanagh County players. So can we show our appreciation for our sponsors, and we ask you to support our sponsors wherever possible. Thank you very much.
Nisha Carja, you're welcome back for the second half of this Allianz National League Division 3 Round 3 game. One change to the Laois team at half time, and number 17 Alan Farrell has come on to replace number 9 James Finn. So with that, referee Joe McQuillan throws the ball in. The second half's underway. I suppose, Mark, Laois's problems weren't just in midfield.
No, look, they
have made a couple of changes to see now that it's... But James Kelly's not following Sean Quigley anymore.
No, I can't see who it is. It's down on Sean now, but they've moved James Kelly's out around the middle of the field here, Ciarán.
So play continues. Laois has it, and it's the James Kelly inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line. He's going forward, making ground, hitting the ball left footed. It's going to drop short. It's a bit of a mismatch in there, and the Fermanagh player is ruled. I think it's Garrett Kavanagh has been ruled to have pushed the back of the Laois forward, who was Gary Walsh indeed, and Gary Walsh will take this free on the 13 metre line. Perfect angle for a right-footed kicker, and Laois, if they're going to get anything out of this second half, they're going to want to get an early score, and here's a perfect opportunity. Yeah,
look, that's a handy one for Laois. I'm not sure there was much in that, Ciarán, to be honest, but it's an opportunity for them to get off the mark early in the second half and get a wee bit of a foothold in the game again.
So it's Gary Walsh lining this ball up, right-footed, hitting it in, low trajectory, dangerous ball, and it's a goal! Oh dear, it was not a great connection. I would put my house on it that Gary Walsh hadn't planned that, but it ended up into the hands of...
I think it's Mark Barry, wasn't it, Ciarán? It dropped short, it was palmed away from just under the crossbar, and Barry was quickest to react and gobbled it up and buried it into the net. Now that's the last thing for Monaghan.
That is the last thing. 2-6 to 2-3, but anyway, a good second half. Fermanagh away they go. They've won that kick out well. Now it's Josh Largo Ellis inside the Laois 45 metre line. He gives it to Ciarán Corrigan. Corrigan had an opportunity to kick the ball, but he turns back, gives it to Conal Jones. Fermanagh recycling the play, left footed. Ryan Lyons, a great score. That's gone over the bar, and Ryan Lyons, he opens his account. We were looking at Ciarán Corrigan there. He had an opportunity to hit it into Sean Quigley. He was 1-on-1. Went back out to midfield, and you know, I suppose when you look back in hindsight, Fermanagh still engineered the score.
Yes, indeed. Look, and it was a brilliant left foot strike by Ryan Lyons just on the 45 metre line.
Now Laois attacking up that far side of the field. Cian Newman lets the ball bounce. That was dangerous, but he picks it up eventually, and now Fermanagh have it. They're breaking outside. 2-7 to Fermanagh, 2-3 to Laois, and both times, Mark, after Laois got their goals, Fermanagh went up and got the next score.
Yeah, responded well, and again, you know, a bit like the a couple of times in the first half, this Fermanagh team don't seem to be put out of their stride or off their stride regardless of what's going on, which is a good sign of a young team, Ciarán.
So Darragh McGorn has it. He's getting inside the Laois 45 metre line, gives it over here now to Ryan Jones, and he finds Luke Flanagan cutting in from a nice angle, gives it to Darragh McGorn. He's took the ball into trouble, but recycles the play, and it's back out here now to Johnny Cassidy and Brandon Horn in and around midfield. Sean Quigley has it now again, and it comes to Ryan Jones and Ryan Lyons now.
And it's Trevor Collins has now been detailed to look after Sean Quigley, Ciarán.
So that's a ball into Ciarán Corrigan, doing well, and he turns inside. He's got an opportunity to take his point. Ciarán Corrigan, low shot, and it's gone into the hands of...
Should have been taking the mark, probably, Ciarán, there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got away from the play. It was just his execution. The shot he took was as difficult as the mark he was going to take, and he was under no pressure. Just didn't have enough on it. It ended up into the hands of Matthew Byron, and that's definitely a score left behind. 2-7 still to Fermanagh, 2-3 to Laois. There can come a time when you can rue those chances, Mark.
Because that was a straightforward one now, Ciarán. That one should have been clipped over the bar.
When Fermanagh are in front, it's always easier to keep nosing on as opposed to have to come back in. But Laois have it now inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line. It comes out. It's with James Kelly. He's a different looking player now that he's not marking Sean Quigley.
Yeah, no, he's been given the freedom of the park just in the first 5 minutes of this second half.
And it's a free in for Laois, yeah.
Another look again, Johnny. Cassidy, just the hands in the back of Evan O'Carroll. It was unnecessary, and it's another opportunity. It's in the 45-metre line, but keeper's coming up. He looks as if he wants to take this one.
Yeah,
Ciarán.
Matthew Byrne is, as you say, Mark, just on the 45-metre line. So in the first half, we've seen Gary Walsh trying to take the kick as Matthew Byrne came forward. Now Matthew Byrne looks as if he's going to take this. He is about 4 or 5 metres to the right hand side of the post, so he will have to draw it back in for the goalkeeper. Gets a good connection. Distance isn't going to be a problem, but accuracy is, and that's gone wide.
Yeah, he pulled him quite badly actually. Plenty of distance on it, Ciarán, as you say, but thankfully the accuracy wasn't there.
Short kick out goes to James McMahon. He had 2 Laois players going down on him as Laois were starting to put the press on, but McMahon does well. It comes over here now to Ryan Lyons, and now it's Ryan Jones as well, and Fermanagh breaking down this stand side of the field. There's 3 Laois players going around Ryan Jones, but he gives it over there now to Darren McGorn. Darren McGorn's had a good game, Mark. He had a good first half at certainly the last 10 minutes. He's also been able to link up defence and attack quite well.
Yeah, it wasn't just wasn't the winning of the kickouts in the second half. He also had an assist for Ciarán Corrigan's goal too, and for Sean Quigley's goal.
And now it's Johnny Cassidy getting away from the challenge of the full back. He fists it forward to Ryan Lane's going to want this left footed. He gets a good connection on it, and that's gone in. The first 2 points of the second half have gone to Fermanagh, and they've both been scored by Ryan Lyons. So it's Fermanagh 2-8, Laois 2-3.
Yeah, another sweet strike off his left foot by Ryan Lyons, just curled it over the bar from just the stand side here. A beautiful point.
And now it's Matthew Byrne. He's going down the middle, going short, 45 metres out. It's John O'Loughlin who picks it up. He's been bottled up by Sean Quigley. Referee Joe McQuillan has called the play back. I think that John O'Loughlin was looking to try and get free from Sean Quigley there.
Look, Sean was happy to slow him down. Again, we've mentioned that a time or two, Ciarán. Fermanagh forwards happy to foul, and John O'Loughlin kind of swung back the arm to try and free himself from Sean. I don't think there was any malice in that.
No. So just as Sean Quigley's down, receiving a bit of attention, it's going to continue with a free, and it's not a card at all. And to be honest, I'm a kid. In instances like that, the players are just trying to get themselves free as opposed to.
Well, that's it. He just wanted to get on. He wanted to get on with it and get the free taken.
So anyway, the play is continued now, and it's into the hands of Owen Lowry, the Laois centre half forward, and it went to James Kelly as well. He was fouled by Ryan Lyons, and it's a free in for Laois. 2-8 to Fermanagh, 2-3 to Laois, and Laois are bringing on a change. They're bringing on number 24, Brian Daly, and they're taking off number 11, that's Owen Lowry.
Yeah, funny, Owen Lowry could make no headway against Aidan Breen at all today. Aidan has done very, very well on him. And again, just in that free there, James Kelly fouled. Again, we've mentioned James having been freed from the marking duties on Sean Quigley is having an impact further up the field. But again, Fermanagh will be disappointed to have given away that free.
It's going to be taken by the number 15, who's Gary Walsh, 25 metres out. Perfect angle really for a right-footed kicker. So Gary Walsh is lining this one up, right-footed, hitting that ball in. He took the first free in the first half, and it dropped short, and it ended up as a goal. Now he's got a point there, so that's a goal and a point for Gary Walsh here.
Yeah, and Laois are very much staying in touch here, Ciarán. Fermanagh are going to have to continue to play well right throughout the remainder of this game if they're going to get away with the 2 points.
2-8 to Fermanagh, 4 points to Laois. Fermanagh just nursing that 2-point lead, and that's come forward here. It's the number 17. He come on at half time. That's Alan Farrell, and as the play continues, it's Laois getting inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line, and it's that man James Kelly hitting the ball right footed, going wide. There's always a scoring opportunity that I'm sure Laois will chalk down as they should have got.
That was very much a scoreable opportunity. Now look, in saying that, James Kelly is causing a lot of problems. He's playing in the middle of the field on Ryan Jones. Ryan, as well as playing his own game, is going to have to keep a much closer eye on James Kelly just to shut him down at this stage.
We'll have to put him back on Sean Quigley maybe to nullify his effect here. So the kick out comes long, and it's Ryan Jones who's fighting for it. He wins his free, doing well. Fermanagh had been under the cosh a wee bit there, Mark, so to win the possession from the kick out and win the free, it shifts the momentum a wee bit back to Fermanagh.
Fermanagh need to keep possession here for a wee while and work an opportunity, Ciarán, and hopefully take it.
And it's Ryan Jones doing well. He gets away from John O'Loughlin, and it's Ryan Lyons left-footed. How can he make it 3 in a row on the left foot? He can't. It goes wide.
And you know what, Ciarán, that was the easiest of the 3.
It probably was, yeah, and he had a lot of space and time, made a good connection, just it tailed away at the last minute. It's still Fermanagh 2-8, Laois 2-4, 4 points between the teams, and Laois with a kick out there goes over to their full-back Trevor Collins, and now Fermanagh are starting to go back. It goes to James Kelly, he's in and around midfield. Ciarán Corrigan was trying to tackle the player who's just come on, who's Brian Daly, and Laois have it now. As you say, Mark, Fermanagh can't sit back and try and sit this game out, because there's still 25 minutes to go in this second half.
No, there's an awful lot of football still to be played, and Fermanagh have to try and play it on the front foot and so far as they can, Ciarán.
So Laois are breaking inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line. It's in the hands of the midfielder Ciarán Lillis. He's bottled up well, and we have to give the credit there to the Fermanagh defenders. Ryan Jones and Connell Jones was there as well. And now it's freed over to Danny Leonard over there, and Darren McGorn on the far side of the field. It's going to come back here to Ryan Jones, who did very well against Ciarán Lillis, as Ciarán Lillis was starting to make headway. He just met the 2 Joneses brothers, and he dispossessed.
There was no way out of that particular tackle.
So away we go again, and it's Darren McGorn on the far side of the field trying to get away from the challenge, and Mark Barry got that second Laois goal, and now it's Aidan Breen to James McMahon as Laois take a lot of their players inside their own half. It's 3 on 3 in and around the 45 metre line. James McMahon just holding possession. Now it comes to Johnny Casta, and over there it's Luke Flanagan. We talked in the first half, Mark, Fermanagh held a lot of possession. I suppose that made quite a lot of the players comfortable with the ball. It got them up to match speed earlier on in this game. You know, you often see times where when players can get the ball, they can panic.
No, a lot of the players all got a lot of touches early in the first half, and the same thing's happening again here now, Ciarán. And hopefully Fermanagh settle into the game again here now the way they did in the first half, after a slow enough start in the first few minutes in the first half as well. But they're starting to settle into the game again here now. The key is to get a couple of scores.
Now Aidan Breen has it. He's got a decoy runner of Ryan Jones. Breen does well, still under a lot of pressure. He's looking for Connell Jones in the 45 metre line, and Jones gives the ball into Ryan Lyons. Ryan Lyons tries to free Darren McGorn, gets away from the challenge. So chance on here for Darren McGorn, third goal. That was well done between Ryan Lyons. Connell Jones found Ryan Lyons in good space in that forward line. Lyons did well. He found the pass to Darren McGorn, got in, and that's a third goal for Fermanagh, a goal for Darren McGorn. 3-8 to Fermanagh, 2-4 to Laois.
Look, another brilliantly worked and executed goal. The pass in from Connell, brilliantly taken by Ryan Lyons, shipped off to Darren McGorn, and look, a very deft finish. With the outside, it was put to the top corner of the net, and that puts a bit of daylight between the teams again.
Now, in all of that there was a change on the Laois team, and number 23 Daniel O'Reilly has come on, and Gareth Dillon has come off. Now that's a high ball in, which Garrett Kavanagh does well to field, because Evan O'Carroll was sitting in behind him and he was waiting for that. But Fermanagh have it, they're breaking outside their own 65 metre line. It's Ryan Lyons, who's also had a good game here as well, Mark, giving it to Ryan Jones, and back they go to Luke Flanagan. Fermanagh just holding possession. It goes over to James McMahon here now. Fermanagh all over to that far side of the field.
Yeah, and again it's just a matter of keeping possession and being patient and waiting for the opening to appear.
And the opening has appeared, and Luke Flanagan has found it. He gives it to Danny Leonard inside the 45 metre line. Danny Leonard looks to give it to Brandon Horan and Connell Jones as well. Jones goes down the blind alley, and referee Joe McQuillan says he overcarried it, so it's going to be a free out for Laois, as Laois are starting to make more changes. They're bringing on number 25 Ross Munnelly, and they're taking off number 8 Ciarán Lillis.
Yeah, Munnelly's a vastly experienced player.
I think the most experienced in the country.
Is that right? At this stage, I'm not surprised to hear that. He's been around a long time, and look, he's a threat. He has a wand of a left foot, and I say that a bit of experience he has as well. So we see he's gone in there on Aidan Breen is picking him up, so Aidan will just have to be very mindful of the job he has in hand now.
I think Ross Munnelly might be only one of the few players other than Dublin players to actually have a Leinster Championship medal that's still playing football. Maybe some of the boys from Meath in 2010, but Ross Munnelly won one in 2003, I think, but I'm sure there'll be someone out there to correct me. The play continues now, and it's Laois in there towards the Fermanagh goals, but the play breaks down and it skids out over the line, so it'll be a kick out for the Fermanagh goalkeeper Cian Newman. Definitely the goal helped Fermanagh. It gave them a bit more, but they're still going to need to tag on more scores.
Yeah, no, it's not as if they're closing Laois out completely here, Ciarán. They're not. Laois are still getting a fair bit of possession, and they look threatening at times as well. So look, there's still a lot of work to be done here.
Kick out, that's been won by John O'Loughlin, and Laois have it, and now they're breaking inside the Fermanagh half of the field. There's a Laois man down on the ground. I think it could be Ross Munnelly probably, who's down. Now it's into the hands of Evan O'Carroll. He's trying to run the ball into the Fermanagh defence, but Johnny Cassidy does well, turns him over, and now Fermanagh have it. Ross Munnelly's back on his feet anyway. Ryan Lyons gives it over there to Sean Quigley, and Sean Quigley has Darragh McGorn away like a racehorse up that far side of the field. He's getting away from the challenge of Sean O'Flynn, turns back inside, giving it back to Sean Quigley. He's got Connell Jones inside, good ball, one bounce in front of Connell Jones. He looks to give it back to Sean Quigley, gives it over the head of referee Joe McQuillan. That's a dangerous ball. Kieran Corrigan's in there, but goalkeeper Matthew Byron comes forward, fists it out. If it had been someone with a bit more of a physical presence, they could have made more of a nuisance themselves in around there, but Laois have it now, and they're going upside the Fermanagh feed. Goes to Ross Munnelly, he gives it over here to the other substitute, who is Daniel O'Reilly, and now it's the man who got the goal, who is Mark Berry, left footed, hitting that ball in, and he gets a point as well. So now it's Fermanagh 3-8, Laois 2-5.
Yeah, good score by Barry there, and again that was obviously a point attempt by Sean Quigley which dropped short. Just unfortunately Kieran Corrigan couldn't get a hand on it to make anything of it. Laois broke very quickly up the field, and Barry executed a very good left footed shot to get a score for Laois and keep them in the game.
6 points between the teams as Darragh McGorn takes a fourth mark in midfield. He's trying to release Aidan Breen, and Breen gets it on the far side of the field. He's going to need support, turns back inside. Darragh McGorn's gone down under the weight of that challenge. Now it's Aidan Breen giving it in here to Sean Quigley. Quigley gets it, he gets away from the cover, and he's got a scoring opportunity, right footed, hitting that ball in. It's gone in and it's gone over the bar, and it's another point for Sean Quigley.
Trevor Collins is having no more success than James Kelly did in trying to keep tabs on Sean. Again, great composure, was looking for options, none were there, and he worked an opportunity to score and kicked another brilliant point.
1-5 from play. I make it that Sean Quigley has scored 1-3 of that from play. The other Fermanagh scores, Kieran Corrigan and Darragh McGorn with the goals, and 2 points for Ryan Lyons and 2 points for Ryan Jones. Now intercepted by Luke Flanagan, and Fermanagh turn it over. It's Luke Flanagan with Sean Quigley in front of him. There's no one in front of Sean Quigley, so he's going to have to wait for support. There's a great ball like an arrow across the field to Connell Jones. He's hitting that left footed. This will be a great score if it can go over the bar. Oh, it didn't. That's a shame.
It's an awful shame, because the ball from Sean Quigley with the outside of his left foot across the pitch to Connell was absolutely sublime. Just unfortunately Connell was forced onto his left and didn't quite get the accuracy with the shot.
Kick out, and if it's one thing, Mark, Laois aren't laying down here because they're moving on at that quick, but that's going to go out over the far sideline.
They're not. They're continuing to play and plug away. Now Fermanagh seem to be on top at this stage in most parts of the pitch, Ciarán. still just 6 or 7 points in it now. Still need to keep playing away just to keep this gap between the two teams.
And it's Ryan Jones doing hard running in and around midfield. He's getting away from Daniel O'Reilly. Ryan Jones doing well. He's got it as far as the Laois 45 metre line, gives it to Sean Quigley, back to Connell Jones, right footed. Will this one go over the bar? It does. That's a great point from Connell Jones. And it's Fermanagh 3-10, Laois 2-5. It's great to see Fermanagh keeping the scoreboard ticking over, Mark.
Yeah, and look, I've said it a time or two, Ciarán, Fermanagh are playing some fabulous football here. Ryan Jones did brilliantly there. Sean Quigley is ripping this Laois defence a shred, and he just popped the ball off to Connell, who made up for the previous miss with a brilliant right-footed point on that occasion. But I have to say, some of the football that Fermanagh are playing is absolutely sublime.
And Laois have it on the far side of the field. It's Daniel O'Reilly trying to get away from Darren McGorn. O'Reilly steps inside, gets away from the challenge. He gives it over there to number 25. That's Ross Munnelly. It comes here now to the substitute, who is Brian Daly, and it goes over to this side of the field, goes through the hands of Josh Largo Ellis, picked up by the centre half forward, who's Evan O'Carroll, hitting that ball left footed. It's a very tight angle. If it goes over the bar, that's a great score from Evan O'Carroll. On his left foot, he hadn't much to aim at there, but he got it in and got it over the bar.
No, it was a super score, and look, he has shown his quality. Every time he's got the ball today, he has shown that he has real quality. Thankfully, from a Fermanagh point of view, Laois have struggled to get the ball into him, and hopefully that continues to be the case for the remainder of this game.
3-10 to Fermanagh, 2-6 to Laois, as goalkeeper Cian Newman lines up to take this kick. He's went long most in the second half, and he goes long again. That's booming out towards midfield. Connell Jones goes for it, so does John O'Loughlin. John O'Loughlin wins that ball, gives it down, and now it's into the hands of the Laois players. They're hitting a high ball into the Fermanagh defence. Evan O'Carroll's in there as well, so is the substitute Brian Daly, but Fermanagh have a lot of players back there. Evan O'Carroll gets it eventually. He's going forward, he's pulled back, and it's going to be a free in for Laois in the 13 metre line. It's going to come to Gary Walsh. I think Evan O'Carroll is just asking, was that not a cynical foul, because he was bearing down on goal there? But
well, I would have no doubt that it was cynical, Ciarán, but it probably didn't quite meet the criteria for the black card in terms of it not being a drag down. But that was a good free to give away. What we didn't want was O'Carroll bearing down on goal and creating a goal opportunity. So we'll give them the point, but
and
protect
a point
the goal.
It is. Yeah. A point scored by Gary Walsh there. So it's now Fermanagh 3-10, Laois 2-7. And I mean, another goal and Laois would really fancy themselves back into it. So Fermanagh, for the remainder of this second half, have got to keep it tight at the back. They can't afford to concede. You can't afford to concede goals at any time,
no,
Mark, really. But
and look, so that's maybe the one disappointing aspect of Fermanagh's performance. On the ball and going forward, they've been brilliant, but they have been a bit open at the back, Ciarán, and they have given away frees. Now, not necessarily the last one, which I think was probably a necessity, but earlier on in this half they gave away a few needless frees that Ciarán Donnelly, I'm sure, will be disappointed about. So that's an area maybe get out of this game, and maybe on Tuesday night when they get back to training, they'll maybe look at tightening up at the back a wee bit.
Just on that, given that this is a refixed game and no other county is playing this weekend apart from the Longford and Westmeath, which is also a refixture, and Longford indeed won that game earlier on today, which was also in Mullingar. But now Fermanagh are looking at 5 games in 5 weeks. It's, I suppose, if the ground conditions remain dry, that's no problem, because games is as good as training sessions for teams, Mark. But you'd be worried that the injuries could build up. Towards the end of that.
That would be the one concern, and at the end of that 5-week period, Tyrone are sitting waiting on you in the championship, so you don't want to be carrying any injuries into that, Ciarán. But the other side of it is, Fermanagh come out of this with a win today, 2 wins in a row, building on the work that they've done over the last 2 weeks. When you're playing every week and you're winning every week, that builds serious confidence, and it builds serious confidence in what is in effect a young, inexperienced Fermanagh team under a new manager. So if the games are coming thick and fast, but Fermanagh are winning them, they'll be happy enough as long as they can avoid injuries.
and speaking of an injury, there is an injury for the Laois team, and it's their cornerback James Kelly, who's been one of their better players maybe in the second half. Once he come off Mark and Sean Quigley, he's caused Fermanagh a bit of problems. He's having to come off, and number 10 Brian Byrne, who didn't start, he's came on and he's going to play the rest of this half for Laois. So James Kelly is coming off the field here now. He's from the St Joseph's Club in Laois, and now it's going to be Ryan Jones who takes this free in and around midfield.
Yeah, that's a bit of a blow for Laois now, yeah, because he had done quite well, even though now Conal Jones had a good game on him in the last 20 minutes as well. But Kelly certainly is a bit of a loss to Laois because he was providing a bit of drive for them going forward.
So away we go again, and it's Aidan Breen getting inside the Laois 45 metre line. He was being fouled by Patrick O'Sullivan, and there was no advantage accruing, so referee Joe McQuillan says it's going to be a free into Fermanagh, and it's Sean Quigley looking to take it. He has got Ciarán Corrigan one-on-one inside. Corrigan providing a good run. Quigley gives the ball to him, right footed, and that's over the bar. That's a good point from Ciarán Corrigan. I mean, Sean Quigley, he was about 50 metres out there, Mark, so
yeah, and look, real credit to Ciarán Corrigan. He made 2 or 3 runs. Yeah, it was the third run when Sean found him, and he had lost his marker at that stage. Brilliant example of great inside movement by Ciarán Corrigan.
3-11 to Fermanagh, 2-7 to Laois, as Laois are bombing down here. It's their wing, it's a substitution, Brian Daly. He's giving it over here now to the full forward Evan O'Carroll, and it's Laois going forward here again. 4 Fermanagh players. Laois man goes to ground. They're going to try to get him to overcarry. The ball spills away. Ciarán Corrigan touched the ball on the ground, and it's going to be a free in for Laois. There was a kind of I suppose it was a maul, because it wasn't just yet a ruck was developing. Mark, the ball kind of squirted out. Ciarán Corrigan went to pick it up. It kind of skipped through his hands. He must have touched it on the ground, and referee Joe McQuillan says it was well, he's seen it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate now. That's an unlucky one for Ciarán and for Fermanagh.
They had done well to take the momentum out of the Laois attack, but Fermanagh are continuing, or the Laois will take this free. It was Gary Walsh, so that's 4 or 5 points that he's got now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they had turned Cormac Murphy inside into the traffic and got him dispossessed. Just unfortunate they ended up giving away the free for that pick up off the ground.
And every time Fermanagh seem to get a score, Laois are following them. So, I mean, yes, there's 6 points between the teams, but as we did say, Mark, if Laois were to get a goal,
yeah, well, that's it. It's a draw game in the second half, Ciarán. So Laois haven't gone away, that is for sure.
No, and that's another kick out from Fermanagh, which Laois have overturned, and they're bombing down here. But Aidan Breen, he intercepts that pass and wins a free as well. And Fermanagh have a good opportunity to break forward here, which Danny Leonard has on the far side of the field. Like, credit to Fermanagh, Mark, whenever they do get possession, they are looking to go forward as well. It's not a case of hold it up.
And they're looking to go forward in numbers, which might be contributing a wee bit to the problems at the back when it breaks down, Ciarán. But it's good to see a Fermanagh team keen to get on the front foot, and maybe more than I have seen in the last year or two, using the kick pass to great effect as well when it's on.
Now, patient play has allowed Aidan Breen to bomb down the centre. He's inside the Laois 45 metre line, shooting chance, right footed, hitting that ball in, could do with a score, but it's gone wide. That's a disappointing wide. Aidan Breen had done well. He'd carried the ball 20-25 metres, just couldn't execute the finish, Mark.
No, and it was his interception too initially that begun the move, but he probably had options with Ciarán Corrigan and Sean Quigley in there that he might have considered using instead of going for the shot himself, Ciarán.
So away we go again, and it's Mark Barry has the ball for Laois, and it's ruled to have been a throw ball. It's back to that thing we were talking about. When you carry the ball 20-30 metres, not always you just have the energy left for the shot, and if you can have someone coming off your shoulder just to finish those moves,
look, that's
it's a great help.
Huge space in front of Sean here.
And he gets that ball, one bounce in front, has Josh Largo-Ellis. He doesn't even look. Josh Largo-Ellis is another goal chance for Fermanagh here. Can he finish it? Chips it over the bar. That ball bounced in front of Sean Quigley. He was coming outside the 45 metre line. He just didn't even look. He knew that Josh Largo-Ellis was going, kicked the ball over his shoulder.
Come here, Ciarán, you said it. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Sean Quigley actually kicked that ball over his shoulder without looking straight into the path of Josh Largo-Ellis. Absolutely brilliant.
And Josh Largo-Ellis, I mean, there was a goal opportunity, but Matthew Byron had come out. He didn't have support, so he was either going to have to round the keeper or take his point. So I think the most important thing was to get the score.
He had the right decision. Byron, to be fair to him, come out, narrowed the angle, and Josh made the right decision and clipped the ball over the bar. But another example of Sean Quigley's brilliant vision and kick passing ability.
And Laois have it now. We talked. I did say that every time Fermanagh go for it, it doesn't faze Laois either. They keep rattling on anyway, and they have it now inside the Fermanagh 45 metre line. It's Mark Berry. It's been a very good, enjoyable game, really, Mark, for anyone watching this here. Overturned. Danny Leonard's doing well in there. Luke Flanagan picks it up now. It's Dara McGorn and Ryan Jones. Jones on his own 45 metre line. He's got 3-4 Fermanagh players going with him. He chips it over there to Luke Flanagan.
Huge space inside
huge
now.
Space. Brandon Horne's looking to go forward and provide an option as well. Given to Sean Quigley. Ciarán Corrigan's inside. He's going to Quigley look to give it to Corrigan. Corrigan making a good run around the Laois player. There's space down the middle, which Ciarán Corrigan has it on that 21 metre line. Right footed, hitting the ball. And what a score from Ciarán Corrigan.
Found again, Ciarán, by another great kick pass by Sean Quigley, but Ciarán Corrigan's movement inside was absolutely top drawer. Took his man on, got a yard of space and kicked a great point with his right foot. Again, brilliant football from Fermanagh.
In this game, we've seen great link-up play between Sean Quigley and Conal Jones, Sean Quigley and Ciarán Corrigan. Some of the Luke Flanagan and Aidan Breen carrying the ball forward as well. There's been a lot of positives for Fermanagh here.
There has, Ciarán, and look, as Laois have chased the game, obviously they've left gaps at the back, but I have to say I'm very impressed with the way the Fermanagh team are playing with their heads up and looking to kick the ball long when it's on. I haven't seen a Fermanagh team kick the ball as much in a long time.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that really has to do with the conditions, seeing as it is such a good day here. Before that, you couldn't really do it in the games before this because there was such a breeze. If you kicked the ball, it would nearly blow over the head of you. So it would.
Well, look, there's no doubt that's playing a big part in it, as is Laois leaving gaps at the back now too.
Dangerous ball in there. There's a goal chance for Laois here, and that's finished to the net. We did say that it was danger. It's a second goal from Mark Barry. The ball, it was a failed shot that went in. Mark Barry caught it above the head of Luke Flanagan, and left-footed he found the corner of the net. So it's now Fermanagh 3-13, Laois 3-8.
Yeah, look, that's just another setback, and you know there's a bit of a trend there in that kick pass in over the head of the Fermanagh defenders, won by the Laois inside line. It's obviously something we said earlier that they have targeted, and it's worked for them.
Another kick out, another of their own kick out, which Fermanagh have lost, and Laois have it. They're going forward here now. It's into the hands of Evan O'Carroll. He's got Johnny Casty after him as well. Casty doing well against O'Carroll, swings him around the neck, but O'Carroll still has it now. It's Ross Munnelly. He's going to want that in the left foot. No angle for him to shoot. Gives it over here now, and Laois have to come away out towards midfield. It's the centre half back, John O'Loughlin, and over there to Patrick O'Sullivan. Comes into one of the substitutes, and it's Mark Barry. He's got 2 goals and 2 points in this game. Fisting it over here now to Brian Daly, right footed, hitting that in, and it's gone wide. But to be fair to Laois, Mark, as well, they've made a couple of changes as Fermanagh started to get out in front, and those players have all come on and done well.
They've all made a contribution, there's no doubt about it, Ciarán. And look, we said it earlier on, every time Fermanagh got a score, Laois come back and initiate another attack. So they're still dangerous, there's still time in this game, and look, the Laois lads are certainly still confident that they can get something out of this game.
3-13 to Fermanagh, 3-8 to Laois. If Fermanagh could only win a ball in midfield, and that's exactly what Ryan Jones has done. I'd say in the second half the stats for Fermanagh on their own kick out wouldn't have been good. They've 3 or 4 that they've lost at least, but Ryan Jones won that one anyway, and he's won a free as well. Couple of changes coming on for Fermanagh. Number 19, Richard O'Callaghan, he's replacing Aidan Breen, and Garvin Jones has come on as well, and he's going to be replacing Connell Jones. So Richard O'Callaghan, no doubt, is going to be sent in there, Mark, to tighten up the defence.
Yeah, look, maybe Richard will provide a wee bit more of a physical presence in around the half-back line, dropping back there too. It's an area, it's a bit of an area of weakness. Now, Aidan Breen looks as if he's maybe been replaced because of an injury there too. Ciarán, actually, he's holding his leg as he comes off.
Well, with Fermanagh 5 points in front and a couple of substitutions available, I mean, there's no point in keeping Aidan Breen on there, because if there was to be a one-on, I can't believe that Laois have only one defender back there on Sean Quigley.
Yeah, no, they're taking a chance now.
Yeah, I can't.
Ryan
Joe,
took too long.
We took 10 steps forward, I think, which was more so the problem. But as he was looking to deliver that there, Sean Quigley was one-on-one with the Laois defence.
Yeah, and look, if Laois continue to push and chase the game the way they have been, you would hope that Fermanagh will see that space inside in front of Sean when they get the opportunity to break and take advantage of it.
Now, Ryan,
go again if
he won the throw-up ball, and then he won a free. As the official shows, there's going to be 5 minutes of additional time at the end of this half. Fermanagh, they're leading by 5 points, 3-13 to 3-8. Danny Leonard has it on the far side of the field. You do well to remember the last time Fermanagh kicked 3-13 as well.
That's right.
Mark, I would think. So away we go, and it's Garrett Kavanagh giving it to Danny Leonard as well, and Fermanagh getting into the space here, gives it to Ciarán Corrigan. He's had a very good second half. Ciarán Corrigan now, he's going to try and deliver it to Sean Quigley, going over to the far side of the field. The full back does well, gets a fist in. It's gone out over the line now, and Sean Quigley's got that ball. It's a line ball midway between the 21 and the 45 metre line. No immediate option really for Sean Quigley. The only person on the edge of the square is Ciarán Corrigan, but Quigley's going to look to hit it short if he can. He's going to hit it cross field to Ciarán Corrigan, gets it in the 13 metre line. Can Ciarán Corrigan pick this ball up? He gets it, sells a dummy left footed this time, hits that ball in, and that's another score for Ciarán Corrigan. In this second half, the forward play between Sean Quigley and Ciarán Corrigan has been really excellent.
Yeah, look, Kieran's movement is top drawer, and Sean has the patience to wait until the right moment to find Ciarán, and on that occasion Ciarán did very well. He shaped the shoot on his right foot, stepped inside with the left and clipped it over the bar, and that, look, I know there's only a few minutes left, but that was an important score.
6 points again between the teams, 3-14 to Fermanagh, 3-8 to Laois, as the ball comes cross field here now to Patrick O'Sullivan, heading towards the Fermanagh 21 metre line. It's James McMahon, puts him under pressure. O'Sullivan goes to ground, it comes back out to Ross Munnelly, and now it comes over here now to the number 17, who is Alan Farrell. Over then to Daniel O'Reilly, and Laois still have it, goes to ground. It's a free in for Laois in the 21 metre line. The midfielder is not the midfielder either, it's in the hands of Gary Walsh. He's hit a couple of frees here in this second half, so an opportunity to cut down the lead. Fermanagh still leading by 6 points, 3-14 to 3-8, and Gary Walsh again low trajectory on it, but it went over the bar. 5 points between the teams now, as we start to tick into additional time here at the end of the second half in this Allianz National League Division 3 Round 3 refixture between Fermanagh and Laois.
Yeah, and at this stage, Ciarán, now as long as Fermanagh don't concede a goal, they'll be able to see this one out.
Kick out from Cian Newman goes to the far side of the field. It's Dara McGorn who picks that ball up, and he's away. He's trying to get away from the challenge of Daniel O'Reilly. McGorn goes to ground, gives it over there to Richard O'Callaghan, I think, but it's a free in to Fermanagh. O'Callaghan takes it, and now it's into the hands of Brandon Horn. He's got 3 Laois players around him. He's going to have to get rid of that ball quickly, but it's been fouled by Fermanagh, and Laois have it turned over on their own 65 metre line. Now it's Patrick O'Sullivan, left footed ball in there, but Garrett Kavanagh done well to get his hand on that there. It was 2v1 for Fermanagh.
Yeah, Garrett did really well just to prevent Walsh getting on the ball.
And Ryan Jones now has it, and it comes over to Richard O'Callaghan, and then it's Luke Flanagan over here as well. So Fermanagh on that far side of the field are starting to break forward. Credit to them as well. We have said a couple of times they haven't sat back. They've tried to keep on pushing forward, keep on getting more scores. Now it's Garvin Jones left-footed looking for one, just about, not enough on it, and it's been broken down by goalkeeper Matthew Byron. He's coming forward looking to deliver a ball here. Ryan Jones gets a hand in between the two players in midfield. Ryan Jones eventually fouls the midfielder. That's Brian Daly. He's come on in this second half, and now it's another change for Fermanagh. Number 9 Brandon Horns coming off, number 23 Stephen McGuillian's coming on, and McGuillian's going straight to his own defence. So you can see what Fermanagh are planning to do in the last couple of minutes here. They're putting some of their biggest players, because Laois are more than likely going to try high balls in, Mark.
Yeah, no, look, Stevie is going straight to position himself on the edge of our own square there, just in case anything high comes in. Good move by Ciarán Donnelly, I would suggest.
So Laois have it and they're hitting that ball in. It's Evan O'Carroll has it. It's amazing how he could get space in there, and he's turning around. A lot of Fermanagh players around him. Stephen McGuillian's one of them. Gives it over here to the wing half back. Laois still have it. There's a lot of players back in there. Ball's been kicked, bobbling around, and Fermanagh have eventually turned it over, and it's Ciarán Corrigan who has it. Gives it to Darren McGorn on his own 21 metre line. He's turning back. He'd be as well going forward. Gives it to James McMahon. High challenging James McMahon. It'll be a yellow card, I would think, for the Laois defender there, and Fermanagh have a free, an opportunity to kill some of the next seconds in the game.
Absolutely, no, that's the perfect for Fermanagh. They can slow the thing down now, get a bit of treatment for James. Hopefully he'll be okay. I think he was ducking down into the challenge a wee bit. It doesn't look to be too bad, but it gives them an opportunity to get themselves organised, set up, and kill a wee bit of time. And maybe, am I right in saying nearly, is that the first yellow card in the game, Ciarán?
Could well be.
Yeah, very open game, very keenly contested, but a very clean game of football, Ciarán.
It was nearly a shame to give a yellow card at this stage in the game. You'd have been as
well. You think he wouldn't have bothered?
You think he wouldn't have bothered? Yeah. So the play is still held up as James McMahon's down getting treatment. 3-14 to Fermanagh, still 3-9 to Laois, 5 points between the teams. It goes to show you that when Fermanagh go forward, they can get the scores, Mark. They get a lot of bad publicity for not being as attacking minded. Yeah,
they have done, Ciarán, but certainly that accusation could not be levelled at this Fermanagh team today. Now they have went after the game big time.
And as the ball's going forward now, it's Stephen McGuillian going forward, scoring opportunity. He's looking to find Garvin Jones. Another goal chance on here. Garvin Jones hits the ball left-footed. It's gone over the bar. Now it's 3-15 and a score for Garvin Jones as well. And as we're ticking down into the last couple of seconds here, Mark, to put you on the spot to a certain extent, if you had to pick a man of the match in this game,
Sean Quigley.
Yeah. And with that, referee Joe McQuillan blows the final whistle. It'd be very difficult to argue as Sean Quigley for man of the match, not just for the 1-5 he scored, but the countless other scores that he contributed to and created.
Look, he was an absolute joy to watch today, as he can be when he's in that kind of form. His ability to win ball, his ability to score, and that vision he has, and the wonderful kick passing ability he has, Ciarán. We saw it all today, and he played a big part in how well Ciarán Corrigan played as well. Ciarán's movement was brilliant, but he obviously needed someone to find him, and Sean was able to do that time and time again. But now when I was quick to say Sean Quigley, I have to say that a number of Fermanagh players played very, very well today, and that's a confidence boosting, morale boosting win for Fermanagh. Now they can begin to look up the table with confidence and really look forward now to the run of games that they're going to have over the next month.
Yeah, well, next weekend Fermanagh will welcome Laois here to Brewster Park. It really is essential that they can also back up this performance. In this last couple of games, I've watched all the Fermanagh games, and there has been an improvement from game to game. They've had, we will not say a perfect performance, but certainly a very good performance going forward.
Yes.
They have to back that up next week and put in another one, and if especially with the Laois game being at home.
Yeah, and look, they do have work to do. They conceded 3-9 today, despite the fact that they were clearly from start to finish the better team, but they coughed up scores far too easily, coughed up scoreable frees too easily, Ciarán. So,
I would also argue that in the second half they lost too many of their own kickouts.
Well, look, they did. They put themselves under pressure. They weren't able, obviously, at least made it very difficult for Fermanagh to get the ball out short in the second half. So the ball was being kicked out longer, and at least certainly did well on the Fermanagh kick out, which put us under pressure. But even with that, I still felt that, in the past, Fermanagh would have had bodies back and maybe been able to concede less scores. So I have no doubt Ciarán and his management team will look at this over the next day or two, and on Tuesday evening at training when they get back to it, there'll be a bit of a focus, I would think, on maybe trying to tighten up at the back, as well as continue to do all the good stuff that they did going forward. It's just a matter of getting that balance, as it always is, Ciarán, getting the balance right.
And with that, Mark, thank you very much for your contributions. We'll bring this broadcast to an end from still Brewster Park, Boston, lovely sunshine. Final score, Fermanagh 3-15, Laois 3-8. Another 2 points on the board for Fermanagh, and we'll talk to you again next weekend in Brewster Park for the next game on Fermanagh GAA TV in association with our sponsors Monaghan Brothers. Until then, slán.